So I gotta say, I think for maybe the only first, second, maybe third time in 286, really over 300 shows, we were actually a minute late. I guess truly we're like 48 hours and 1 minute late.
Yeah, I don't recall, but you and I were just sitting here BSing, and we're like, "Holy crap! It's 7:01. We're late."
Yeah, my little thing down there was flashing at me, go live, go live, go live, but it doesn't like do an audible thing, so I wasn't even paying attention tonight. I mean, that that kind of shows both of our interest in doing live shows over the last couple of weeks because we've had so many different irons in the fire,
Yeah, I
or
don't think it's a lack
corn
of.
in the
I don't think.
husk, or however you want to put it.
Yeah, we've had a lot going on, folks don't need to think that we've taken our finger off the pulse of politics, but it's been somewhat subdued. I mean, there are some things cooking in the background, no doubt about it, and we have some things to run out there with, but they got to kind of get ripe. They're not, as lawyers say. Lawyers
Yeah,
say, it's not ripe yet. Well, there's some things that are getting ripe out there that I don't know. There's going to be a lot of people pissed in Bossier when they find out what we're going to put
yeah,
out there to them.
could be very interesting. So I just put in the comments to welcome everybody to another Thursday edition. So I guess, look, I vote that we skip the countdown and skip the intro and all that tonight. We just kind of start rambling into it. But we were discussing and we've discussed this several times before, whether to stay with Tuesday nights or go to Thursday night. We decided in the beginning not to go to Wednesday night because that's the typical church evening service, for a lot of folks. So we always decided against Wednesday. I don't even remember how we landed on Tuesday nights in the beginning. I think we just picked it.
Well, yeah, well, I think that some of it was due to that we were focused on Bossier City politics and we wanted to be right on top of it. In the day, we watched the council meetings, we had it fresh on our minds, and, we could do the best. I hate to say reporting because we didn't consider ourselves journalists, but we could do the best work with having it fresh on our minds. So I think that was why we were just all amped up for Tuesdays. And
Yeah.
now that Bossier City's boring, maybe we need to pivot a little bit. We said in other shows we were going to try to put more of an emphasis on the police jury and maybe the school board, and maybe we're at that crossroads. Maybe we need to start doing Thursday nights to, let the police jury and or the school board do what they're going to do, and we can be Johnny on the spot to be here to report about it.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea, and we'll continue to try to do every Thursday night. To be honest, folks, there may be some weeks where we skip a week and maybe do every other Thursday. I don't know. We'll figure this out because well, it's live and off the cuff and all that sort of thing. Because we're also getting into fishing season, so I'm gonna have a lot going on with high school tournaments and all that kind of good stuff. So anyway, we'll play it by ear and see how it goes. Hey, it can't be too boring because Shane Cheatham is back to being CAO. As a matter of fact, he is officially approved as CAO. Did you see that?
Well, wait a minute. You said back to being CAO. I don't remember him ever being CAO before
Well,
that.
he was quasi sort of CAO, almost, but not quite. I mean, don't you remember all that? That's the whole my one of my biggest gripes against Tommy the mayor.
Oh, Tommy the Chandler, Tahoe Tommy. I remember. Yeah, absolutely. But as I recall, taking a walk down memory lane, that was. Remember the day? Remember El Guapo? Remember that?
Oh yes, I do. I do. I remember El Guapo and the three amigos. As a matter of fact, we've been asked several times in the comments and a couple of messages what the heck the three amigos mean. So, what do you say we take everybody down a little bit of memory lane and we'll review what led up to the Three Amigos video. I've got the Three Amigos video queued up, by the way. Um,
You you really? I mean, I didn't see those messages. Somebody said that they didn't know what we were talking about with the Three Amigos.
yes, we actually got those comments.
See, that just galvanizes that thing that, you need to talk about things over again because not everybody gets the opportunity to hear it. That just proves that true again.
Well, and look, let's to be honest, it was back around like show 49, 48, 51, 52, back in that. I mean, so that's been actually several years ago. Don't forget, we've been doing this since the fall of 2020, Mr. Lowry. It's been a long time. Many, many, many,
20
many hours of sitting in our chairs.
Wait a minute, are you kidding me? 2020?
October the 6th of 2020. Let me double check myself here. I should know this history off the top of my head because, well, we were both a part of it. But let me double check myself while some more people are coming. That's right. Our very first show began. Very first show number one, was October the 6th of 2020.
Good grief, no wonder I feel so stinking old. You're wearing me out.
We've literally watched your beard and mine too, get grayer and grayer as the years go by. We're just
Yeah,
stuck in these chairs behind these
and now
mics.
and now I'm having to wear glasses as a result of all this.
Yes, made you go blind. So, yeah, it's been a long time. And so, folks, we're kind of rambling on because we're skipping the countdown and all that. So, we're kind of doing that little transition. So, let me remind everybody, Duke usually does this, but let me remind everybody to go ahead and like and share and, tag people and let them know, hey, we're on if y'all want to hear us ramble for an hour or two or three or whatever. But yeah, let's go down memory lane. Let's back up to the very first Sobo luncheon that I ever attended because Tommy Chandler was there, and this was in the middle of all the Cheeto controversy with David Montgomery and the blue hair, long-winded, long-toothed city council that we had back then, spearheaded by none other than David Montgomery. So let me play y'all the first Sobo luncheon video in case you've forgotten, and then we'll get to the Three Amigos. How about that?
Yeah, let's do that. Roll with it.
I've got one department that I am working hard, and I'm not going to stop. I've been working on it all day long.
This is 2021.
Shane Cheatham, you want to right hand man, will you please consider my right hand, please? I'm trying to get him in there for and he would be a great asset to the whole Bossier City, and he would have helped me so much, and I sure want him still to be in there, and I thank him for staying with me. Thank you. I have not given up on this man. I wanted him from day one. He's going to be plus for me, plus for Bossier City, all of Bossier City, not just south, but North Bossier too. And I've not given up. I tell you now, right now, I have not given up on him. I will not give up on him. He's my kid. Okay.
Now, part of me says Tommy lied right there because he absolutely gave up on Shane. But then the flip side of me is thinking, well, in the end, maybe he really didn't give up on Shane. He finally got him in there.
He finally got him in there, and yeah, he did. But the thing is that begs the question. So, look, Tommy's my friend. I was friends with him. I mean, look, during the Dement administration, and Tommy always wanted to run for mayor, and ultimately he did, and he is the mayor. But Tommy has his administration. I'm not going to say Tommy, but I'm going to say his administration. They've had some problems since he's been mayor, and there's been some hiccups, and I would contend some probably significant hiccups and I could rattle off a bunch. I'm not going to go down that litany of problems that has been along the way, But looking forward to the future, the likelihood of Tommy being able to get another term is looking very much so in doubt, with other people that would potentially challenge him. And I gotta say, bottom line, the best opportunity he has at potentially being able to set things right and get another term is Shane Cheatham.
Right.
Now, I mean, it's almost like it's a no-brainer.
Well,
Shane Cheatham's the guy.
you're being much nicer than I will be. Although I will say, I did mention at one point several shows ago, well, he ought to nominate Cheatham. That would be hilarious. And we kind of laughed that off and went about guessing who the CAO was going to be, the nominee was going to be. But I'll say this, Tommy, I give you credit for having the kahunas to nominate Cheatham again, and I think you made a very good choice in doing that. Hopefully, Shane can keep you out of such fiascos as the parking lot ordeal and shutting down motels that pay their water bill for zero reason and getting involved in federal lawsuits. And where else shall I go? Maybe he'll keep you out of the Tahoe ordeals and all that else. Maybe Shane can keep the ship steered down the correct pathway. And maybe we won't hear much out of Richard Ray or Jacobs either along the way.
Well, not so fast, Dano. I've
Oh,
got a
dang it.
little bit of an idea or thought or two on that subject matter. So, I mean, look, they're their own people, but I'm wondering if either one of them have really thought through the ramifications here. So, did you happen to hear Shane did an interview? He didn't bestow an interview upon Bossier Watch, but he went over there to that radio show called, Keel Morning Show, with Mike and Aaron. I mean, he didn't come to Bossier Watch, but okay.
That's all
And
right. We'll see.
he was asked a question, about data centers and water or something to that effect, and he had to correct himself and say, so oh I was Aaron retorted and said, oh, so you're confirming there's a data center. And he's like, no, I was talking about we're going to sell a lot of water to the port through that port water line. And
Did he maybe violate an NDA already right out of the bat? Is that what you're saying? Controversy already?
well, well, no, but as astute as you are, you went right to the core of the question that I had. Because as everybody down there is being, uh, I mean, like everybody's got to sign an NDA. I mean, remember how we talked about the data center stuff, and it seems like, remember we had Mike Eccles
Uh,
on the show, and we say, well, did anybody over yonder in Richland Parish and y'all's area, did y'all all your elected officials have to sign NDAs? And
yeah.
Mike Eccles said, I don't know of any elected official that signed an NDA, but yet you hop on over here to Bossier and Caddo, and everybody's being locked up. So that made me think, well, I wonder how the debate's going with Shane Cheatham on signing NDAs.
Yeah. We want to know, Shane, do you support NDAs or not? It's a simple question. Not have you signed one. Do you support NDAs? The use of NDAs by government officials to keep their constituents and the tax-paying citizenry in the dark about potential business coming in.
I mean, look, but there's going to come a time. I mean, look, we love Shane to death, and Tommy's getting the benefit of having Shane in there, and that Shane may be able to ensure that he doesn't have he gets steered in the right direction. But as long as there's no hiccups between now and then, it's conceivable that Tommy made the right decision in putting Shane in there, and Tommy may, end up being able to have another election and get through there. But what happens if one of those good old boy projects comes flowing down the line, and Shane has to bend the knee to one of those good old boy projects. And what happens if Shane chooses, no, I'm not going to go down that road? Um, I don't know. I just see some problems and some pitfalls here.
Well, potentially there is. I mean, because, while I'm joking about Richard Ray and Jacobs, not hearing from them, they're still lurking there in the background, drawing their salary. Now, granted, I'm sure Shane is going to carry forward the same policy when Hammonds commanded Amanda to take Richard Ray's city-owned vehicle back. So I'm sure he's going to carry forward with that. But it will be interesting to see, you're right, if some project or whatever comes up, which direction Shane actually takes, what pathway. I mean, I'd like to say I know which way he would go, but you never know.
Yeah, no, I think Shane has proven over and over that he's more principled than uh, a lot of people in Bossier City government. And look, there's no way you can be in government, especially in Bossier City, that you're not going to come. That day is not going to come that you're going to be at that impasse where you're going to have to choose between protecting the establishment or doing what you believe is morally right. I mean,
Right.
Good grief! Look at everything that's happened over the course of the last 4 to 6 years.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
thing has happened almost at least 1 or 2 times a year, every year.
yeah, at least I was going to say 1 or 2 times a month or a quarter. All right, let's change gears for a minute because I want to make sure and get this in here, and then we'll segue off maybe some more into the data center stuff too, because I got some information on that, at least on the across the riverside. But I want to review where the Three Amigos came from. So I've got the video queued up here. Folks, if you've never seen the Three Amigos, it is one of my personal favorite comedy movies. And anyway, so remember initially, Hammonds was not running for city council in that initial race. It was Chris Smith, Tommy Chandler running for mayor, and Shane Cheatham ran for city council. And they were basically, for the most part, all three running buddies in this. And then Tommy left Shane out to dry, and thus, well, for the most part, Brian and Hammonds too, once Hammonds came along. So anyway, here's the video of where we got the Three Amigos from. So let's enjoy this. It's about a minute and a half. Here we go. That would be Shane Cheatham, Tommy Chandler, and Chris Smith. He's trying like hell to be CAO. And there's Tommy basically drinking the water or Kool-Aid of Montgomery and everybody else.
Yeah, that's pretty much the way it's been.
Lip-up?
So that's where the Three Amigos came from. Now y'all know.
Oh, that's classic. That's classic. Yeah, I mean, the bottom line, you had a council that hated Shane's guts, and Shane, he enunciated kind of how that all went, because I think he had a date at Little Italiano, and he didn't sit in the right seat. I think he
Right.
sat in somebody's seat, and it didn't rub them right, and he didn't get the nod. But here he is back again.
Yeah. He's back in the saddle and officially approved, by the way. So if you hadn't seen it, it's pretty short and sweet. I've got the video queued up. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and let me get that queued up here. Hold on just a second. Let me see. I wasn't able to do my normal download of the video, but I think I can bring it up. And let's see. What was the timestamp on that? Let's see here. 26:48. Hold on just a second. Yeah, this ought to be about right. Let me resize this. Give me just a second, folks, and we'll actually show the video of Shane being approved by the city council. Let's see here. What? Why can I not make that?
Well, I mean, look, Shane, he went. A lot of people may or may not know this, but he got an appointment with the governor, and
Till
I
March
think it
11th,
was
2028.
Oh,
First
sorry. Go ahead.
maybe housing and urban development. I'm not sure what. I mean, there's a role in that. He went down, worked in that office a little bit, and I think he was having a good time. Bottom line is Shane loves Bossier City,
Oh,
and
he does.
yeah, he does. He's loyal to Bossier City. Now, look, him and all that, he's a little bit extreme when it comes to that Parkway stuff. I mean, I look, I got that. He's a little over the top, but so is Chris Smith. I mean, that Sobo thing. It's like those guys have a chip on their shoulder, but they need to remember that Nobo is part of Bossier City as well too. And just because they have more rooftops down there doesn't mean that they need to uh, steer everything to Sobo.
That is very true. They need to be cognizant of the fact, that there is North Bossier now that they've got a cabal going of South Bossier people on the council and associated with the administration, I guess, would be the right way to put that. So let me kind of resize this a little bit more. All right, here we go. So this is Shane being confirmed, if you hadn't seen it, at the Bossier City Council meeting. Here we go.
final reading. So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Ross, second by Councilman Hammonds. Is there any public comment? Any
Be right
comment
after
from the
this, hold
council? Council, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain?
Adopt a resolution, motion carries. Adopt a resolution nominating for confirmation by the Bossier City Council Shane Cheatham as the city's chief administrative officer. First and final reading.
Motion by the chair.
Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Second.
Motion by Councilman Chris Smith and a very late second by Councilman Brian Hammonds. I was starting to have a little deja vu there for a second.
He probably did it on purpose.
Probably did.
Is there any public comment? Any comment from the council?
Yeah, Mr. President, if you don't mind.
And so let's listen to what
I
Hammonds
just
has
want
to
to
say.
remind, the council before, especially y'all, the new ones that are here. Me and Chris are so seasoned with 4 years on y'all. This is a person that works hand in hand with the mayor every single day. This person does not work for the council. He helps the council. He's a mediator for the council in between us and the administration in this position. I think we owe it to our mayor for him to have the people in the position that he wants, that he trusts, that he can work with. I just think that we all need to take that into mind when we are making this vote, that this individual, whoever it is in this position, is there at the choice of the mayor, not of us sitting here on this legislative body of government that we are. So just want everybody to think about that when you're making this vote.
Thank you, Councilman Hammonds. Is there any other member of the
Oh,
council?
one more thing. I can't.
Yes,
Sorry.
sir, Councilman
Sorry,
Hammonds.
I'm over my 3 minutes. You know,
Point of
a lot
order,
of people
point of
don't
order.
know that this individual that is up today, Mr. Cheatham, he's worked for Governor Landry for the past 2 years. And Governor Landry and Deputy Chief of Staff Kyle Ardwan have both voiced how much of a loss it will be for them to lose this individual. So if that does not tell you the characteristics or anything else that you know about this person, that the governor and the deputy chief of staff do not want to lose him in this position, but fully support him in this position, to me says pretty much everything that we need to know about this individual coming from a state level, and we would be very grateful and appreciative and lucky to have him in this position.
Thank you, Councilman Hammonds.
No, not that I could think of.
Council, anybody else?
I would like for Mr. Cheatham to come up and tell the
Sure.
public a little something
There you
about
go, Miss
himself.
Deborah.
For those who don't know
Get
Mr.
Cheeto up
Cheatham.
to the mic.
Man, and you didn't get this opportunity 4 years ago, so you take as much time as you need, Mr. Cheatham.
I have a timer.
3 minutes. Giving you 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
I had a prepared little short statement that I would like to read, and but I won't take up too much of your time. But good afternoon, President Smith, council members, Mayor Chandler. I would first like to thank you, Mayor Chandler, for the confidence you've shown in selecting me to serve as your CAO.
Again.
I also want to thank the City Council for your time and consideration today. If approved today, you can expect professionalism, responsiveness, transparency, and a strong focus on results. My top priorities would be to work alongside the mayor, supporting our city employees, and partnering with this council to continue to move Bossier City forward in a way that is practical, fiscally responsible, and respectful to the people who call it home. Thank you all again for your consideration. I look forward to the opportunity to serve Bossier City with integrity and dedication.
Council, with Mr. Cheatham standing up here, does anyone have any specific questions for him? Anything you'd like to share?
Let's get to vote.
Let's get to the vote. All right.
Short and sweet.
Well, if there's no further comment, then council, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Congratulations, Mr. Cheatham.
Motion carries.
Well, all right.
All
Well,
right.
let's-
Let's
let's
do our
talk about a little-
commentary.
Let's talk about that. So Creighton was sure slow to get up and clap. That video, I've not seen that, and obviously, like everybody watching this, saw Creighton sure didn't get up and clap very. He wasn't like all excited, and
Well-
I saw maybe it was KTBS, maybe it was KSLA, or somebody posted that Shane Cheatham was made CAO by unanimous vote. Well, that's-
unanimous in attendance, we'll put it that way.
yeah, I was going to say that's not true. It was unanimous of those in attendance because not everybody was at that meeting, as I appreciate it. Because in that frame you just showed, I don't see Maggio, and I
Yeah.
don't see Joel Gerard.
And
They're not
Joel's my
there.
city councilman. Joel, where were you? What's up with that?
Well, allegedly, he was on a predetermined vacation. I already rooted this out, so I
Okay.
went down this road. But as I appreciate it, and some of y'all are going to kind of tee off on this, and I'm not picking on nobody, but I'm just telling y'all what the word on the street is. The word on the street is that Maggio was a no on Cheatham. And rather than being the only person voting no, he chose to not come.
Oh, so he
So-
didn't. Again, he was a follower, not a leader. And instead of actually leading, even if we don't agree, by showing up to vote, he chose to be a follower and tuck his tail between his legs and stay home. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's your words, a way of describing it. You have your way, I have mine. And but what I'm going to say is my observation on it is, I mean, look, everybody's entitled to have their opinion, vote, um, yes, no, whatever. That's fine. But what I would caution everyone to draw from this is the good old boy system is alive and well. You know, it's not dead and gone. It's still there. Just because Shane Cheatham has gotten in there, just because the Sobo militia is basically leading the charge, that does not mean that the good old boys are still not out there. That does not mean that they're not a force to be reckoned with. So,
I agree. Now, I've got to ask you this, though, or let's ask the audience. So, first of all, I want to say this, that without the inspiration from you, Mr. Lowry, as well as the subsequent Republican Executive Committee meeting and the subsequent assistance from everybody, including the Colonel and Wes Marriott and everybody that walked the streets and Cassie and everybody that was involved of the Term Limits Coalition, everybody that was involved, including everybody that went to the polls and voted for the term limits and rooted out the old guard of the good old boys from the council, do you think this would have happened if they had still been in there? Do you think this day would have ever happened?
I don't know. I don't. No, I don't. But look, I'm not going to brag about any of that, and we shouldn't gloat. The thing is that the folks that wanted to see change in Bossier City, you know, you got to stay vigilant, because just when you think that you have everything going in your direction, I mean, you can't let up. You got to stay engaged. You got to stay focused and stay on top of things. But point of personal privilege here. And some people are not, Rex, you won't even get this, but some people will get this. And I'm just going to throw this out here, and those that this are meant for, when you hear it, you're going to know what I'm saying. Five, five off without pay. 5 off without pay. How's it taste? How's it taste? I hope you enjoy it.
All right. So, we'll see how this, maybe changes some of the shenanigans. Like I said, that's, obviously what I'm interested in is I think I know Shane's character relatively well, having known him since the school board days and all that. Obviously, I didn't grow up with Shane. I'm not from Sobo or anything like that, but I've known Shane, for several years now. And I think his character in dealing with the politics of City Hall is going to be pretty good. And I think he's got probably a pretty good moral character on that. It's going to be interesting to see how what does Tommy have left? 3 years? A little over 3 years?
I think two. I think two, but
Okay.
look, yeah, I agree with you. I think Shane is going to prevent Tommy from, stubbing his toe. I mean, not that Amanda didn't do that.
Right.
I think Amanda did a good job. Look, I think she did a wonderful job. Really, I do. I think you don't know the internal deliberations that they had. And, in my opinion, the attorneys in the city attorney and the assistant city attorney, were driving policy in Bossier City. I don't know if Amanda was strong enough to oppose them and keep Tommy from making mistakes. I can tell you that guy right there with the glasses, I know he will fight them
Oh,
tooth and
absolutely.
nail, and will stand up and not kind of just sit back and
Look,
let things let the chips fall. He's going to fight. He's a fighter. He's going to
Let's
get in the ring.
remind everybody of his role in the term limits situation, and he literally got up and walked out of a meeting just on principle. So, anyway, so this isn't the pat Shane on the back hour or whatever, but we've long been pretty good fans of Shane. Not all, we don't. That doesn't mean we agree on every little thing or whatever, but anyway, I'm glad, and Duke, I think you'll probably say the same thing, that we're both very glad that Shane is in that position, and kudos to Tommy or whoever suggested it to him. Maybe he was thinking about it all along, but credit to Tommy for nominating Shane and the city council for putting him in there without a ripple.
This is there has been a long line of things that have come down the pipe from Bossier city government that have been egregious, and this was one of them. And this is another correction. Tommy deserves the credit for making this correction and making this thing right. And we're putting this behind us. We're moving on, but everybody needs to be vigilant. The people who want to control everything, and they're still out there. They're not dead and gone. We didn't bury them. We gotta stay on top.
I agree 100%. All right. Speaking of staying vigilant, I'm kind of halfway following our notes a little bit, but I want to mention, because we kind of touched on it already, but this data center and NDA business. So I went to a meeting the other night, which is the main reason we didn't have a show Tuesday night. Went to a meeting concerning the data center that they're talking about building out there around Blanchard and Blanchard Latex Road or wherever it's going to be out there, which is going to theoretically be drawing water from Caddo Lake, I think also Cross Lake. And so I went to the Greater, the Greater Caddo Association of Louisiana meeting, or whatever it's officially called anyway. Which, hey, our buddy Chris Crackman was there. There were a couple of other political dignitaries from Mooringsport and the area there. Liz Swain was there. Was she with the Shreveport-Bossier Advocate now? She was there covering it. We met at the Mooringsport Town Hall. Ty Gordon, the young guy that's the mayor of Mooringsport, was there. And he has subsequently filed a lawsuit against the city of Shreveport, which I have on screen. Yes, he has. I'm not going to go through the whole thing here. I've kind of skimmed through the lawsuit. It's got some merit. I personally don't think it's going to get very far, but it's at least raising the issue over on the other side of the river. And I would like to remind everybody, or let everybody know, that January the 28th, there is a town hall style meeting, community meeting about this. Crackman's going to be there. Our good friend Danny McCormick's going to be there. And I don't know, several other people. They're going to try to give any updates they may know. But honestly, a lot of them are in the dark over this NDA business. Apparently, the mayor of Blanchard has given the green light to selling the water to this entity, whoever it is, which, as far as I can tell, the town of Blanchard is legally able to do. I did inform them the other night in the meeting. I said, look, I can kind of give y'all a little bit of a blueprint or roadmap how to fight this. And number one, you start with the next Blanchard Town Hall meeting. Everybody that's in this meeting we were at Tuesday night needs to grab a neighbor and a friend and show up at the Town of Blanchard meeting. And you start the fight there and just continue on. But anyway, so we'll see where all this goes. But there are a lot of folks gearing up for a fight on this.
Well, you kept saying, if you want to fight, show up and fight. Are you saying that people should go and fight? Is that what you're saying? Because it sounded a lot like you're saying that people should go and fight.
Well, I'm kind of torn, honestly. And so I posted some of this on the Outdoor News. I've cross-posted it on Bossier Watch. So let me tell you where I stand with this. Number one, right now, the proposed data center is going to be, I think, 1.5 million gallons a day. of water that they're going to use. And then they're going to run some of it back in, through treatment and all that. And then it'll go back, I think, into the Shreveport sewage system, actually, after they treat it or whatever through the water treatment system. But anyway, so they're going to be drawing about 1.5 million gallons a day, up to, I think the proposals may say up to like 5 million a day, but it's going to be coming out of Caddo Lake because Blanchard draws its water from Caddo. They've got an inlet right there around Mooringsport directly out of Caddo Lake, and they've got a 99-year lease at $100 a month to be able to legally draw water out of there. They've got a permit from, I think it's the Department of Environmental Quality of Louisiana to draw, I think it's up to 5 million gallons a day. Anyway, and Blanchard supplies water to Oil City and several other of the, small towns around there. But they've got enough excess capacity to sell this to whoever this company is going to be with the data center. Now, here's the deal. So I drove to the spillway before the meeting Tuesday night. I drove to the Caddo Spillway. And right now there's about 660 gallons per minute flowing over the top of the spillway because the lake is about 1/4 of a foot high over pool stage. And it's been that way for 7 or 8 months. The lake is actually not low. A lot of people think it is. It's not low. It's actually over pool stage. And there's 660 approximately gallons per minute flowing over the top of that spillway. So literally, you stand there for 3 or 4 minutes, and that's the amount of water that this data center, this single data center, is going to use in one day. So from that standpoint, there's excess water going over there. I'm not so opposed to it. Even if we're at pool stage and there's no water flowing over the spillway, there's approximately 40 billion gallons of water in Caddo Lake. They're talking about up to, let's just give them 5 million gallons a day. That's still less than 1,000 million. It's less than 1 billion gallons a year. That's assuming no rain fell at all in Caddo. So anyway, the point is, from that standpoint, from the math standpoint, I'm like, yeah, whatever. But here's the problem. And here's where I'm against this overall, because this is only one data center. And they're kind of like, they're kind of like the little gremlins from the 80s. When you pour water on them, more pop out. And so there's usually going to be 2 or 3 or a cluster of these data centers that eventually crop up, all drawing water from Caddo. And because we can't draw Caddo down, because it has no floodgate, the siltation of Caddo is ridiculous. The lake is literally getting shallower and thus less water volume. And so that's going to mean potential negative effects on Caddo if enough water gets drawn out. So I'm really torn on this. I'm leaning towards against the data centers in principle on that.
Okay. So let me. The roles is kind of weird. Anyway, the roles are being laid out here as we speak. So okay, that's fine. I'll take that position. So where does the water ultimately come from that feeds into Caddo Lake?
Well, 2 places mainly. So the first being out of the back of Lake of the Pines, which is a relatively large size, or I would say medium size overall water reservoir that was built back in the 50s or 60s or whatever. It's upstream, so it's the primary feeder of Caddo. Now, James Bayou is on the Louisiana side. It has some watershed and feeds Caddo on the Louisiana side. So think of it like this. Caddo's kind of a little bit of a Y shape. And, you got the Texas side, and, well, my hands are reversed. But anyway, the Texas side, James Bayou side, and a few other small feeder creeks.
Okay, what feeds those?
What feeds Lake of the Pines?
Yeah. Well, yeah, Jeans Bayou, all those. What feeds those? Where does that
The
water come
various creeks and streams and all that flow down. At least James Bayou, to be honest, I'm not 100% positive how big the watershed is for James Bayou.
So they only get water by virtue after that. Where do those get fed from? I mean, do they get fed from
Rainfall.
all rain?
Rainfall.
Is it rain?
Yeah.
Or do ultimately a little bit of Red River trickle water come down through there?
No, Red River
Is that
trickle water doesn't. So Caddo Lake feeds the Red River via 12 Mile Bayou. 12 Mile Bayou technically starts at the back of the Caddo Dam and feeds the Red River, unless the Red is up and backflows into it.
okay? Exactly my point. So all of those over there, tributaries or what have you, is not sourced via the Red River, which spans across multiple states and a large geographical area. Whereas what you're talking about is primarily by virtue of either, say, spring water or rain or something of that nature.
Correct.
So if if in fact the people over there decide, hey, you know what? We don't want you to abuse Caddo Lake or to abuse uh we don't we're not convinced that the appropriate amount of water is going to be able to be sustained to supply these things. So therefore we don't think we should do it. That's their right. Well, guess what? If you hop on over to Bossier, where does our water primarily come from?
From the Red.
From the Red. Well, that's almost like an endless source. And if I do recall, this little group called Bossier Watch went way back in time and found a study that was done all of Northwest Louisiana for providing water for both Caddo, Bossier, the whole shooting match for a Northwest Louisiana wide water thing, and the source that was determined to be or have the ability to supply all of the needs, there was only one. It was the Red River. So if these folks in Caddo and Shreveport screw the deal up, I'm going to go on and say it right now. You know what's going to happen? Bossier's going to do it all.
Oh yeah, the data center may well come over here, and arguably, we've got plenty of water to supply that. Look, personally, I wouldn't be opposed to, if they had some kind of stipulation where they're going to build some small reservoir ponds or something, holding tanks where if the water level is at thus and such in Caddo, you can't draw out of there, or you can draw a limited amount, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, but again, I guess the downside is that, well, again, if you let one data center in, they tend to cluster because the other companies say, hey, look, they got, pretty good deal, tax abatements, whatever they got. They've got water, they've got electric and power to do that. And so we'll build there too. And that's the problem. Then when you combine the efforts of um, some of the communities surrounding Dallas to sell water to Dallas upstream. So they were literally going to sell, and we mentioned this a few shows ago, but they were and still contemplating drawing water out of Big Cypress Creek at Jefferson and selling it to basically I think it's the Northeast Texas Water District or whatever, which is basically selling it to Dallas for the most part. And so they were going to grab a pretty good chunk of water before it ever even got to Caddo. You combine all those things together, that's not so great for Caddo. Although the other side of me argues that, well, actually, we need to draw Caddo down. It's got like 10 to 12 feet of silt right now in the bottom of it. In the dam, it's getting shallower. We got to dry that silt out. But everybody goes berserk when you tell them that drawdowns for lakes are actually good and good for the spawn. But that's a whole other conversation. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of caught on this deal, or split down the
Yeah.
middle right now.
Yeah, well, the way I see this thing, it's going to end. Bossier, it was already going to have a data center, and here's what's going to happen: data center that was going to be in Caddo Parish is going to be over here in Bossier. It's going to be one big, huge deal, and hey, we'll see how it shakes out.
We'll see. And we'll see how this lawsuit shakes out. I mean, Ty's a nice guy and all that. I don't blame him for filing the lawsuit, just kind of scanning through it. I don't know. They raise a couple of good points, but some of it doesn't really have merit. But we'll see. I mean, hey, I ain't no lawyer and I certainly ain't no judge. So, anyway.
Yeah. So what's this business about the police jury? And Jeff Sadow's back on them again about breaking the law and all that stuff. And of course, we already know that he's busy kind of doing something else, so we can talk bad about him right now if we
Oh
want.
yeah, we'll
I
make his
mean,
ears burn.
yeah, he can't defend himself, so we can just whatever we want to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, here's the deal. So, and we've talked about this many times, several shows back. I don't even remember how long it's back been that we've talked about it, but where the police jury, remember we showed the little old ladies that the police jury had kicked off the library board, and basically they just, the police jury was for banning books, but only certain books, and they kicked all the old ladies off the library board and just took it over. And to Sadow's credit, Sadow has been complaining and blogging about this, that their actions are illegal. And he cites the statutes. And he was at the meeting the other day, at the police jury meeting on the 14th, and told them so.
Yeah, and seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like I remember having a big, huge debate and confrontation with Juliana at one of the RPEC meetings over this issue regarding the library at one time or another.
Yeah, I think you did. Because it's been an ongoing issue. I mean, this is not something that they just did. It's been going on for several years now. And it's kind of funny their reaction here to what Sadow says. We'll play it here in a minute and let you hear it. But I mean, it's like, they don't care. I mean, they're probably like, so sue us. I mean, it takes lawsuits to get them done. Folks, don't forget the McCormick lawsuit went all the way to the Louisiana Supreme Court, and that's got some interesting twists and turns. But ultimately, the police jury lost. So they don't have a great track record when it actually gets outside the 26 JDC. But again, Sadow can raise all the points he wants, but till somebody sues the police jury, I mean, how are you going to stop them?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right, so let's. I've got this queued up to Mr. Sadow's comments. Let's listen to him. Tell the police jury how the cow ate the proverbial cabbage.
All right. Hi, I'm Jeff Sadow, 123 Rosemont Place, Bossier City. Yes, I'm honored to be the first one our new president gets to deal with. I hate to put a little damper on all this good fellowship, but it's been 2 years and 4 days since this parish has had its Library Board of Control to meet. And the way in which it met the last time, January 10th, 2024, was a little problematic, and it's the fact that it hasn't met since then is problematic. If you'll look, the little study aid I gave you there, these are some of the ways in which you're on the wrong side of the law by this not happening. The minutes of that last meeting claims that all 12 jurors were participants as members of the board, but in fact, state law only allows 5 to 7. That's, and I have in the parentheses the relevant statute 25-214. Also, the jury appoints the board members, and of course, in your last iteration, you appointed all yourselves essentially to be that. But since nothing's happened in the last couple of years, theoretically, terms have ended and more appointments have to be made, and these appointments haven't been made. Again, that's 25-214. The board is also required to meet at least annually. It did meet in 2024 that one time. It did not meet in 2025. That's 25-215. The board also has not elected officers in 2025. It did in 2024 in that one meeting. Again, that's something that's required to do annually. And then finally, the board has to present to the jury a budget on an annual basis. That did not happen in either 2024 or 2025. Now, you approved of a budget that deals with the library, but statute says the board itself must forward a budget for you to vet. So I just want to bring this to your attention. in my research, you're the only parish in the state that's not doing this, is not having its library board of control meet. And if you remember Luke's gospel, to paraphrase, if someone can be trusted in small matters, they can be trusted in great matters. I know this is a small matter, but I think it's something that you do need to deal with, and we can then trust you in some greater matters. Thank you.
If you would, please sign in
I
sheet.
just-
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
So their only question was, did you sign the sign-in sheet? I mean, what was I
Sorry.
expecting? Was I expecting Patrick to jump from his chair and go, "Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I've had y'all acting illegally with this library board of control. We apologize. We won't do it anymore."
Yeah, look, none of this counts unless you sign that sign-in sheet. You know, that's the most important part of everything, is that you sign this sign-in sheet.
Yes.
I mean, come on, good grief. Look, bottom line, everybody watching this and everybody in Bossier, you should be concluding from all of this that the police jury raided the library board. And they can say, we disproved it in a previous show. They tried to say that, well, you should have seen some of the stuff that was going on in the libraries. And then I went to the library and did the search and found some of the books that were the most top X-rated, horrible literature denoted in the country as being available within those libraries. And, we need to go back and check all of that, because they hung their hat on the fact that they needed to take control of it. In fact, if I remember correctly, Juliana Parks said a comment, and I'm sure we have it on video, or we can go back, and said something to the effect of, if you could see what was in these libraries, or something to that effect. I mean, I bet you some of that crap's still there. I bet
I'm
it's still
sure it is.
there.
Well, and look, aside from all of that, one of the reasons, or one of the justifications that they used was that the library board that they appointed was out of control, and so they had to take it over. Yet they take it over, and they're completely out of control. And according to CAO and the statutes, they're not following the law. I mean, how stupid is this? How stupid are they? Well, you don't have to answer that question. I already know.
Yeah, well, my assessment is that this was nothing more than about raiding the money. That was what it's about. They had money, and the police jury needed the money. And I suspect that in the future, we're going to report to y'all that the police jury raids money in other places as well too. And
could that be some
it
foreshadowing that we're doing now?
potentially, maybe. I don't know. I mean, but it just sure seems like the police jury sure is money hungry, and it don't make a damn where it's at. If they have an angle or a way to go after getting some more dollars, hey, there's nothing stopping them. They're going there.
Yeah, our good friend Val Baker says, still waiting on them to break ground for the new library in Houghton. And Rusty says, it's always about the money. Yes, always follow the money, that old cliche. All right. What else do we want to talk about? Shall we talk about the sheriff's deputy post? Shall we spend a minute on that?
I think, I think we get that one out of the way. I got to tell you, that one I have struggled with this, with the deputy. I've struggled with this one a little bit. That one has been on my mind and has bothered me quite a bit over the last few days.
Yes, absolutely. So give me just a second here, and I just want to pull it up, not to roll the video or show the video, but I want to be able to roll through some of the comments because I've got some commentary on that. So let me adjust the screen here. Let me preview this and see if it's showing up good enough. Yeah, there we go. All right. So if you haven't seen it, I'm sure most of you have. We posted a little video clip. Did not show the vehicle or anything like that. I would argue that the video was in good taste. It showed the train obviously stopped, showed the heavy police, state police, and sheriff's department presence there, but didn't show anything that we would feel in bad taste. That video is now at 394,000 views. That's crazy. I really don't know why it trended so high, but it did. But I want to say this. So, because we did get some messages, requesting that we take the video down, including from the family. And we did see those messages. If y'all are watching, we did not ignore them. We just hadn't come up with the appropriate response via text message. So, what
Because
I'm
we
going to,
struggled with it.
yeah,
I mean,
we
look,
did.
I mean, we have had a lot of conversations about this. And anyway, go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, so I just wanted to add this in that the reason we did not take the video down is not because it got an insane amount of views. I mean, that's not the reason. It's because number one, there were some asinine and ridiculous comments and people trolling on there. And I was trying to moderate it, but after a while, there's so many daggum comments, I gave up. I didn't have time. If they were just really egregious, we have a pretty good rule of not really moderating comments, but out of respect for the family, there were some that I actually deleted, and there were a couple that I banned from the page that were just obvious trolling. But for the most part, I think if you'll read through this, I want to say this on not just our post, but there were several others. Wade Lovelace had a post, of course, all the news agencies did, and all that. And the vast majority of comments are at least positive or prayers for the family or so sorry for this. Yes, there are some bad comments, but just scroll right over those, and look at all the outpouring of support and prayers for the family. And look, let's face it, for the employees that were on the train that had to go through that ordeal as well, and all the sheriff's deputies that had to respond to that, and the EMTs and all of that. A lot of people coming in there, hey, can y'all just show a little bit of respect before all the insults and all that? So I just want to say to the family of the deputy, which it's out there now who it was and all that, but we didn't leave the video up out of disrespect for the family. We actually made sure that nothing was shown that we felt was in bad taste. So I'll let you have the
Yeah.
floor and give your 2 cents, Duke.
Well, my 2 cents on that is that, there's a lot of people that empathize with, the family and empathize with, the department, and they may or may not have a way to express that. They may, you don't know with the internet and all this. And overwhelmingly, people that support. I mean, in anything we do in life, there's going to be people that are horrible people that are going to say and do evil and mean things, and that's another aspect of this thing. Um, you and I debated about this, Rex, and I think that this was an example as well to you know some to see the character of some people.
Yeah, good and bad.
I,
Yeah.
I I hate the whole situation, but there are bad people among us. It's the reality of the world today. And people say, I don't want to ever be in a foxhole with that person or this person, and you need to be able to know the character of people. Well, you know what? Some of these folks and some of the comments that they made and the poor taste in their comments shows you the type person they are, and now you know who they are. You know, and so again, if you know, we wish nothing but relief to the family. The the officer, I mean, again, he's been identified, and the family, we wish nothing but, good Lord, giving them some kind of solace in this time. I mean, I couldn't imagine,
Right.
and to those of you that were horrible human beings, you know, I want y'all to take a moment and y'all need to think about a person in your life that you revere or you uh, care for the most, and you suddenly lost them, and somebody went to making derogatory or negative comments about them.
Right.
I want you to stop and just think about that. Whoever you are, and I'm just going to call you the dirt bags of the world. I want y'all to stop and think about if the person that you cared about most in the world,
Right.
if somebody started doing that, how would that make you feel? You know,
Yeah, and I want to also add this in. We're not ambulance chasers. That wasn't what this is about. We're not, shifting what we're talking about on Bossier Watch. This involved a sheriff's deputy. And, our goal from the beginning has been to keep an eye out for Bossier. Um, we've gotten a lot of phone calls and text messages. Hey, there's a wreck over here. Y'all should go check this out. And we just don't do it. But this involved a sheriff's deputy, and anytime it involves law enforcement or the fire department or something like that, and we feel that, folks in Bossier should know about it, then, we're going to put it out there, not to chase ambulances, just to let y'all know. Again, this was not a boosted post. This was organic. I don't know why it went to 394,000 views, but it has, and people are still commenting on it right now. So, like you said, Duke, there were some not so good comments. I would encourage the family members, because the family is watching this. We know 100% because they've reached out to us. I would encourage the family to just gloss over those, look at the positive comments and all of the good things that folks are saying and all the prayers. And, just again, like you said, Duke, take that kind of for what it's worth. If it's just maybe a little bit of solace, maybe, just a tad.
there's 100% evil in the world, but at the same time, there's a whole lot of good in the world,
There
and
is.
there's a whole lot of good people that want to convey and express their empathy for you, and people that you don't even know, and they're praying for you, they have sympathy for you. You know, just look at the good side. Evil's a reality, and hang in there. There's a whole lot more people with you than against you.
Yeah, and I want to point out this one comment here. This Frank Clarion, I don't know him at all, but anyway, he said, I watched the video several times and never did see a smashed vehicle. And again, not to upset the family at all, but I replied back and said, we wouldn't have shown it if we did have it. We would have edited that out. There's plenty of places where you can go see that kind of crap. We're not ambulance chasers. We're not news. We shared it since it involved the sheriff's deputy, and that's that. So anyway, that's the deal on the sheriff's deputy. Again, it's kind of cliche, but thoughts and prayers to the families, all the families involved, whether it was the train employees, the sheriff's department, his immediate family, and everybody involved, his friends and all that. Not a good day.
No, not a good day at all. Not a good day at all. So, hey, uh, what about this Senate race? What about, uh,
The Cassidy, now it's like a montage of people.
yeah, I mean, good grief. I mean, but I'm
Well,
starting to think that that's not going to be the most entertaining race.
Well, let me give you my two. Let me pull my soapbox back up here for a second. So here's the deal, because I've been asked about this. Well, did you see what so and so posted about, about Fleming, or did you see what so and so posted about Miguez, or about, Julia, if I can talk, Julia Letlow, or Julie Emerson, or blah 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 blah. Look, everybody's picked their sides for the most part in this race. I mean, I'm sure there's some undecideds out there, but everybody you see on social media has pretty much picked their sides. And so they're going to defend their guy or girl, as the case may be. And that's part of it. It's part of the political ball game. I've said from day one, and Duke, I think I'm kind of echoing you somewhat. Um, we voiced our support for John Fleming, but we like Blake Miguez. And look, the fact is, I think Julia Letlow would be fine as U.S. Senator. And let me explain why. Because there's the chart out there where her voting record is like right there with Bill Cassidy's. I forget who put out the voting poll or whatever, or voting record numbers, but she's like at 75 or 76%. So is Cassidy. Well, I got news for you. John Kennedy's only at 80%. So on a scale of 100 votes, Julia's only 4 votes behind John Kennedy. And John Kennedy is only 4 votes ahead, or 4.5 votes ahead of Bill Cassidy. I mean, so this is ridiculous. What I would encourage everybody to do is, number one, don't vote for Bill Cassidy. I don't care who you vote for. Don't vote for Cassidy because he's a traitor. Second of all, look at their actual voting records and look at their history. And, if you're not really decided, I can certainly say that John Fleming would be a great guy and a great candidate. I also believe Blake Miguez would. And I think Julia Letlow, on balance, may not be as conservative as Fleming is, or maybe not as conservative as Miguez is, but, I, try to get through all the fluff and the hype and all the crap on social media and actually do your homework. So what say you, Mr. Lowry?
Well, I think perhaps Rusty Maddox may have the wisest observation of everybody, that they're going to mess around and reelect Cassidy. So yeah, you're right on all of that. I mean, Julia Letlow is right there with Bill Cassidy as far as voting record. Um, you know, look, the bottom line is this vote is going to be so fractionalized, and this pie is going to be cut up so freaking much. The honest thing is I don't think anybody can predict how this thing's going to flip. But I can give you an observation from somebody who's paid attention to votes. And look, political people disagree all the times, but let me break this out for you. You've got Fleming, who's going to arguably pull, you would think, a Northwest Louisiana vote margin. You got Miguez. Now that Julie Emerson has pulled out of the race, Julie Emerson was dividing the Acadia parishes with Miguez, but she pulled out. Miguez is down there. He's going to pull the majority of vote of the Acadia parishes. Letlow conceivably would pull the Northeast Louisiana voting block, which that's not a whole lot. The Monroe thing, that's not a lot of votes. I mean, if you had all of that, that wouldn't get you there. You got to have something else. Well, she is popular in the Baton Rouge area. So that's enough to kind of get you there. Cassidy, Orleans. That's where he's going to pull the most stuff. That's where he's from. I mean, Orleans can almost always carry somebody all the way. But allegedly, Doc Fleming has done a lot of work down in that area. And I think he anticipates being able to get a pretty good amount of votes there. So I got to tell you, I don't know that anybody can mathematically kind of really may even make an educated guess on how this thing's going to pan out. This pie is split up so much. I don't know. My speculation would be Cassidy makes the runoff, and it's anybody's guess as to which one of the other candidates do. I lean Fleming on it, not for any particular political reason. I don't think people are going to vote for Letlow simply because Trump did it. He endorsed her. I don't think people are going to just on that. I think Fleming has been working He's been campaigning and working longer than anybody else, and I think that's going to have a greater impact than what people think. That's my 2 cents. I may be wrong.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. I mean, I think the work that he has put in would override Trump's endorsement. I mean, I've seen a few comments on Facebook that basically just since Trump endorsed her, well, people automatically support her. But I don't think that I'm like you. I don't think that's enough of a margin to make a huge amount of difference, or at least overcome the difference that Fleming would have, the advantage Fleming would have, simply because he's been campaigning on this for so long. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. Look, I'm all for the choice. I am. I mean, even if that risks Cassidy, you know, getting back in the main election, I'm all for the choice.
I think that anyone that ends up against Cassidy beats Cassidy.
Yeah.
I agree. That's the only thing I agree with. All bets are off on the rest of the stuff. I wouldn't bet on any that anybody is guaranteed that they're going to prevail in this thing. I don't see it. The
Yeah.
only thing I think is a constant is that Cassidy makes the runoff. He's got $11 million in the bank.
Yeah.
I
That makes a
mean,
difference.
he's got enough money to go buy the votes
Yeah.
to get to the runoff.
Yeah. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting either way. All right. What else do you have to share this evening, Mr. Lowry? Anything of
Well, look, a high achieving CAO of Bossier would be, coming on this show and saying everybody needs to, shelter in place and be prepared for Snowmageddon.
Yeah.
But
Remember what happened last time, people.
we gotta give a little grace because he's new on the job. He may not quite know yet, but hey, everything's
Watch that overtime.
they're saying it's going to be bad. I got to tell you, I don't think it's going to be bad. I mean, I
Well,
don't see
my
it.
gut feeling, and look, I'm no weather forecaster by any stretch of the means, but my gut feeling is it's not. And even if it is, it's only for a day or two. And by Tuesday, I think it's supposed to be back up in the 40s and 50s on Tuesday. Dropping down in the 30s, maybe the high 20s at night. But still, I don't think it's going to be that bad. But I will say, Mr. Lowry, when we had the last one, that was almost 7 days that we went without electricity. I had a generator, so I did get my generator running, but it was a pain. So from that point on, I bought a new generator. I go out there and faithfully crank it about once a month, every 2 months, run some gas through it, keep the gasoline fresh in it. I am good to go. I did my good prepper deal and got plenty of gasoline to carry me through so we can generate heat or do whatever we need to do. We have water. My wife went to Walmart right up the road. She had to almost park around the back. It was so packed. And when she got in there was only 4 gallons of bottled water left. Only 4 gallons. And she had to fight a lady to get that.
Good grief. You'd think it was COVID all over again.
All over again. Hopefully they don't buy up all the toilet paper this time.
Well, that was what I was going to say. Just as long as you got enough toilet paper, that's what counts.
Yeah, so we're pretty much ready for the ice storm, ice age, whatever around here. We'll see.
Well, all right. Well, that's all I got. So I guess until next Thursday, we'll see you then.
Yeah, we'll try this on the Thursdays. We'll try to post a show notice beforehand. But I think we hadn't changed up in since the beginning. So why not change it up and we'll do a little Thursday deal.
Yep. Sound like a winner. Well, good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Hope it was informative, and y'all be safe out there. Stay warm and throw a log on the fire. Have a stiff cold drink, as Rex says, and watch a rerun of Bossier Watch.
Yes, there you go. I've been posting them lately back on Facebook, slowly but surely. So
close us out with the three amigos.
We are the three amigos. I could totally see Tommy Chandler doing that.
Oh yeah.
Getting ready to take his selfie picture. Leaving him high and dry.
Oh, that's funny.
We're out of here, folks. See y'all next week.